You miss a day, you miss a lot. Chicago's Talk Radio, the Big 89, WLS.
Jimmy in Oak Park, you're on WLS.
Yes, I'm calling, first of all, to say that I do think you do a very good job.
Well, thanks. You're in the minority.
ABC or WLS has picked the perfect person. You get the fires going and the juice is flowing.
6 minutes after 9 o'clock on the Catherine Johns program. This hour is brought to you by the Rec Room. So, are your juices flowing? I got to tell you what I saw the other night on my way home from work. And maybe you've seen something like this yourself, or maybe you've seen something even more disgusting. I don't know. But I want to hear from you at 591-8900. I left the radio station, was driving down Wacker Drive, and there was like a van kind of in front of me and slightly to the left. And it looked like somebody was sticking their head out the window. And as I got closer and pulled up beside this car, I realized that this woman was hanging out the side of the car, heaving her guts out.
Oh.
And it was like all over the car. It was just disgusting. And what made it more disgusting was that it was a woman as opposed to a frat boy, and that it was a grown woman. You know, a middle-aged woman, a grown-up, not like some college kid who hasn't learned to hold her liquor yet, but I mean a mature woman in a sequined vest, hanging out the side. I mean, just her head was just kind of dangling out, and as I drove by, I was trying to kind of swerve away a little bit because I didn't want any of that puke on the purple probe, and I was looking at her, and she was just, you know, her eyes were glassy. She was a mess. Too much holiday partying for this woman. Now, we talked about office parties last week, and one of the things people were advising was don't get too drunk. I mean, maybe she'd not been at an office party. Maybe she'd been at some other kind of party, but she clearly was a party person dressed in party clothes. And she partied too much. That's like being overserved, as my buddy Fred used to say. She was overserved, for certain. I went, ew. Well, sometimes you just say that, ew. Now, I want to know disgusting things you've seen on the street. Maybe you saw the same woman I did. I don't know. Maybe you were watching some guy pick his nose. Maybe, well, you know, truck drivers tell me they see all kinds of things because, of course, they have a good vantage point because they're above the cars and can see down into cars where people in other cars couldn't necessarily see what was going on. So truck drivers may be full of stories about unusual, oddball, or indeed revolting things that have been seen on the street. You know, sometimes it's just you watch some homeless guy shuffling along, and that's disgusting because he's icky and dirty and smelly. And if you get too close, it's especially disgusting. But this thing, I don't think I have ever seen a person throwing up out the side of a car. I mean, I've heard people talk about that. It's kind of like a myth, you know, but not to her. It wasn't a myth. It was the real thing. And it was interesting, you know, I sort of confronted one of my own biases, I guess, that I don't think I would have found it as disgusting if it had been a young man. Not that I would have said that was, you know, a cool thing to do, but it wouldn't have quite been as jarring as this middle-aged woman. Barb in Elgin, you're on WLS.
Good evening, Catherine. I have to turn the radio down already. I was in a cab going to McCormick Place one morning, and we were at a stoplight, and the guy was going to make a right turn when he could, and so you had good vision of, you know, the outside of the other cab.
Yeah.
And the door opens, and a mayonnaise jar comes, and he empties the mayonnaise jar with some kind of a brownish-looking fluid.
Uh-oh.
And I said to my cab driver, is that what I thought it was? He said, yeah, I'm afraid so. So the guy was just kind of relieving himself in the taxi, and then he just dumped it on the street.
Now, when that tops it all, Catherine, Lincoln Park, nice upscale neighborhood, walking with my wife, I see a guy kind of scratching himself in his derriere. Actually, what he did is he relieved himself right on the corner of Diversey, just off of Clark Street. And he was pulling up his pants, and everybody was kind of scrambling to get out of his way. Cops came by, said, hey, what are you doing? He said, I had to go. And they just continued on. They didn't want to deal with the guy either.
So am I getting you right that he...
Yes.
Right there on the street corner?
On Diversey. It was at 7:30 in the evening.
God!
Yeah, that's what I said.
That is disgusting.
Yeah.
Now, is there a pooper scooper law for that?
Well, everybody just avoided that side of the street.
I guess. Oh, man. Thanks, Joe. 591-8900 is the number. Sandy on a car phone in Bolingbrook. You're on WLS.
Hi, Catherine.
Hi, Sandy.
This happened a few days ago. I'm driving behind a guy, and he rolls down his window and does a honker out the window.
I hate that.
I hate that. I was like, if that hit my car, he would have been a dead man.
You know, I hate it worse, though, when people do it when they're walking, and a lot of times it's old men. I was walking behind a guy just here over on Lake Street outside the radio station the other day, and he was doing that, you know, like that. Oh, yuck. Why are they spitting on the sidewalk like that? It's disgusting. Then you walk by and you get it on your shoes, and yuck.
I agree. And kids, too, that just spit. You know, that's another thing. People that just spit on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
How gross. Anyway, Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Sandy. Same to you. 591-8900 is the number. Jim in Highland Park. You're on WLS.
Good evening, Catherine. How are you?
Good. How are you, Jim?
Good. I used to live up at the Addison-Belmont area.
Mm-hmm.
Got off the L. I was walking home to my apartment from work, and out of the corner of my eye, I thought I saw flesh, and I looked over. There's a little white church up there at the corner, and this woman, who looked to be a homeless woman, was bent over, her hands around her knees, and she was urinating right there in front of the church.
Oh.
She was looking right at me, and I was looking right at her, and I kind of thought to myself, well, now, there's something you don't see every day.
No. And thank goodness. You wouldn't want to see that every day.
No, it wasn't the most interesting thing. Well, it was the most interesting thing I've seen up to that point.
Thanks, Jim. That is the thing, you know, stuff that's disgusting. It's like when you smell something that smells vile and then you want to smell it again, or you want to show it to somebody else and say, here, smell this because it's disgusting. Disgusting stuff can be a draw sometimes. Steve on the Northwest Side, you're on WLS.
Catherine, that caller a couple people ago, I swear to God, I saw that same guy on the street.
Really? On Diversey?
He was right on Clark, just north of Diversey. He wears a green slicker-type raincoat.
Yeah.
And he was just walking along, and he pulled up his raincoat, and he had nothing underneath.
Oh, come on.
Loose.
Really?
Yeah, I work for the city, and I run a complaint truck for the sewer department, so we see these same cast of characters day in and day out, and this guy was... If he's not diving in garbage cans for food, he's doing his business right on the street.
So, you know, what do you do about somebody like... I don't mean what you personally do, but what do we collectively do about somebody like that?
Well, I don't really know. I don't know. Most people just turn their heads in disgust, so...
Well, I suppose, but, you know, it seems like there ought to be a way to make people stop doing that.
See, they're not all here, so they really can't be reached, I don't think.
Well, that may be. That they're just beyond... Well, can't be reached sums it up.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
Sure.
591-8900 is the number at WLS. So that was an interesting flurry of disgusting stuff, but somehow I don't think we've exhausted all the possibilities. So here's a couple of things. If you are in the Chicagoland area, you know that you can dial us straight at 312-708-847, 630-773, the numerous area codes around here. If you're outside the Chicagoland area, the area code in Chicago is 312. Now, maybe in small towns, in rural areas, you don't see so much disgusting stuff on the streets. Or maybe you see even more disgusting stuff. I don't know. Maybe you listen to me talk about seeing a woman hang her head out of the car and puke, and you say, yeah, I've seen that 1,000,000 times. Well, I don't know. It could be. I mean, I guess part of why it seemed weird to me was because it looked so out of place on Wacker Drive, woman all dressed up in a sequiny kind of top. You know, it didn't fit. It wasn't like she was coming back from a kegger or something, like a college student party out in the forest or at a state park, you know, where you might think that kind of thing would go on. It was just out of place. I suppose it's never really in place that somebody should hang their head out the side of the car and puke. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying. Context sometimes makes the difference. So perhaps you can give us the lowdown. You're a truck driver. You travel interstate highways. You've seen a lot. Or you live in a small town, and, you know, you're very accustomed to seeing disgusting things, and you think I'm being squeamish. 591-8900 is the number here. William in Markham, you're on WLS.
Hey, good evening, Catherine.
Hi, William.
Hey, it seems every time I call you, it's about my experience in the military over in Japan.
Well, you have a wealth of information to share with us, William.
Well, over there, for business to go on, the Japanese men, the businessmen, get off work and they go out to these bars, and it's like a ritual. They have to go out and drink and get absolutely plowed, and there's no such thing as public drunkenness. And you see in these bar regions, they just use the street for whatever they choose to do.
Really?
You see these, businessmen in these $1,000 suits just staggering down the road. They'll just stop and arbitrarily just, relieve themselves and just keep on going. Nothing, It's weird, but
now that is very weird. See, I think of Japan. Of course, I've never been there, but my impression of it is that people are proper, that there are rules there.
Oh, sure, during the day, but once you're in the bar district.
And you got an eyeful.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Dave. 591-8900 is the number. Joe in Skokie, you're on WLS.
Yeah, I think I've got one that'll top them all.
Yeah, I think you might.
Hey, do you want to hear it?
I don't know. This is almost like bordering on too disgusting.
It really is. Yeah, well, you've taken my call, so I'll try and say it as delicately as possible. I was in a bar in the old Irving Park neighborhood.
Yes.
And this fellow was drinking quite a bit, and he became sick. And he tried to do it in a very neat manner. And so he threw up in his glass.
You got to have pretty good aim to throw up into a glass,
But why waste good beer? He drank it afterwards.
Oh, come on, Joe!
No kidding.
Oh!
Needless to say, he was thrown out afterwards and cut off.
I would think so. Oh! Joe, thanks for calling. It's 20 after 9 at WLS. 591-8900 is the number. All right, so I'm driving home from work. I see this woman with her head hanging out the side of the van, heaving. Now, I don't know why it was so startling to me, I guess because, I certainly have, back in the old days, had more than my share to drink and even become sick, but I have never thrown up out the window of a car. There's something just really bizarre about that. Plus, she was all dolled up in sequins, it was very dressy, and it was just interesting. Disgusting, but interesting, as a lot of disgusting things are. So I want to hear about disgusting stuff you've seen on the streets at 591-8900. WLS Chicagoland weather, cloudy, very cold tonight with occasional snow flurries. A low about 5 above, a little bit warmer than that in downtown Chicago. Tomorrow, cloudy, very cold, occasional light snow with an accumulation of an inch or two, a high of 12. And Friday, becoming partly sunny, not quite as cold, with a high in the mid to upper teens. Right now it's 8 at O'Hare, 9 at Midway, 7 at DuPage, 11 at the lakefront. The wind chill is 13 below. And here's a check of WLS traffic at 9:21 with Ted Novak. Now, when you check into that Gaper cam, Ted, can you see any disgusting stuff?
I believe we are vomit-free for the moment on the WLS Panasonic Gaper cam. And that's good news because, frankly, I don't want to be staring at that.
I don't blame you a bit.
Our expressways and tollways are also vomit-free and delay-free for that matter. No problems on the Kennedy, Edens, Eisenhower, Stevenson, or Dan Ryan. Lakeshore Drive tollways have no problems. We have no overnight roadwork scheduled, so we should be in good shape. Although a bit chilly, make sure you give your car plenty of time to get that battery going and the oil flowing before you head out to the expressway. Updates brought to you by Sam Goody. Sam Goody has the movies you're looking for. Give a friend the movie Beaches, starring Bette Midler and Barbara Hershey from Touchstone Pictures, on sale now at Sam Goody. When you're on the go and need to know, it's Chicago's Talk Radio 89 WLS.
This holiday season, customize a creative and unique gift for everyone on your shopping list. Mario Tricosi Hair Salons and Day Spas have the most exquisite ideas for holiday gift giving. Call 1-800-TRICOCI. Let them help you design the perfect gift for your special someone. Choose from full or half-day spa packages. Lift someone's spirits with an ultimate spa day. It's a full day of complete relaxation, including a massage, facial, a manicure and pedicure, a gourmet lunch with champagne, and more. Mario Tricosi's staff puts clients at ease, and they have the best in spa services, like the hydrotherapy tub, a rejuvenating body polish, an aromatherapy massage, and many other unique and relaxing spa services. Precision cuts, plus separate color and perm departments in every salon. Now, for more information, you call 1-800-TRICOCI or visit any of their 9 locations: Arlington Heights, Oak Brook, Chicago, Naperville, Stratford Square, Schaumburg, Crystal Lake, Old Orchard, and Orland Park.
I'm not a kid anymore. I have responsibilities, a mortgage, a wife, and 2 kids who depend on my income. I need life insurance. I called Zurich Direct Insurance Agency at 1-800-280-8436. That's 1-800-280-8436. $250,000 of term life insurance for just $20 a month. I saved 70%. So now I have money for other things, like preschool, college, weddings. You can save up to 70% on life insurance with Super Select Term from Zurich Life Insurance Company of America. I like to be in control, so I run my own company. I make my own investment decisions, and I deal direct with an insurance company for term life insurance. No hassles or wasted time for me. I called Zurich Direct Insurance Agency at 1-800-280-8436. And you know, I saved about 70% on my life insurance. 70%. Call Zurich Direct, 1-800-280-8436. Hey, being in control is great, and saving money is even better.
The holiday shopping event you've been waiting for is off to a flying start. It's the annual Buyers Flea Market Savings Bonanza. Beginning today, the 18th, the market will be open 7 straight days, right through Christmas Eve. You'll find thousands of bargains for the holidays and every day. There's plenty of free on-premise parking, or take CTA buses to the door. The Buyers Flea Market will be open today, the 18th, tomorrow the 19th, and Friday the 20th from noon until 8 p.m. That's right, Wednesday through Friday, noon until 8 p.m. at 4545 West Division Street, 2 blocks east of Cicero Avenue. You'll find helpful, friendly people, good food, free raffle prizes, free kiddie rides, and Santa Claus, too. That's the Buyers Flea Market, 4545 West Division Street, 2 blocks east of Cicero Avenue. Today, tomorrow, and Friday from noon until 8 p.m. Saturday and Sunday from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. Plus Monday and Christmas Eve, too. Come see all the new bargains at the huge heated Buyers Flea Market, where the holiday savings celebration is off and running. So don't miss it.
Reach out and touch us at 312-591-8900 or fax us on the WLS fax line 312-984-5283. Talk Radio 89 WLS.
It's 26 minutes after 9 o'clock on the Catherine Johns program. So what can I say? Sometimes you're out and about and you just see disgusting stuff. And I want to hear about it at 591-8900. Catherine on a car phone. You're on WLS.
Hi, Catherine. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. I have 2 things. One time, just to show, maybe something happened other than the woman had too much to drink. I was dressed to the nines I found a sequined maternity dress. Ate something at a party and absolutely could not make it to the bathroom. My husband had to pull over, and I was throwing up outside of the car, just like that. But I was coming home the night before Halloween, and it was really late, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was behind some car, and both doors open, one on each side, and one head with a rainbow fright wig, and the other one with a witch's wig, both open. They leaned out, and both of them threw up. It was beautiful.
Now, that's kind of bizarre, coordinated up-checking. I like that.
Well, I'm a sympathy puker myself. I hear someone's thrown up, and that's
it, huh?
Yeah.
You just go?
Be a great mom. Yeah.
I bet you spend a lot of time doubled over, don't you?
Yeah, really.
Thanks, Catherine.
Goodbye.
Bye. Chuck on I-94. You're on WLS.
Hey, Catherine, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Chuck?
Great. Pleasure to talk to you.
You too.
Listen to you all the time. Hey, it's funny. It's kind of like speak of the devil, because it's that you're talking about this. I'm in a big truck, and we look down. We can see all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I've heard truck drivers get some interesting sights on the road.
I don't know how to tell you this, but right before, this was just a just a little bit before you started this guy pulled up alongside me.
Yeah.
Turned on his dome light. Sure enough, he was polishing the bayonet. And I laid on the air horn, and I moved over. I was in the right-hand lane. I started creeping over into I basically tried to put him in the ditch. I thought that was pretty sick.
You tried to put him in the ditch?
Oh, man, I thought that was sick. I laid on the air horn, and I started inching over that way, and the guy's left tires got started rooster tailing up all kinds of slush and snow and...
Did he stop his activities at that point?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure probably hibernated, hopefully.
Now, here's the thing. It's interesting that he would turn on the dome light, so he obviously intended for you to see this performance.
Oh, they do that, yeah. They do it like they're exhibitionists or something like that.
That's very weird. See, now that's something I've never understood, that,
You know,
Oh, Chuck.
The guy's doing it, I'm hoping one...
You're what? No, Chuck, I've lost you in the static. I'm glad you called. But yes, I think it's bizarre that a guy would pull up beside a truck being driven by another guy and be, pleasuring himself, we'll say. What motivates those people? Marlene on the Northwest Side. You're on WLS.
Hi, Catherine.
Hi, Marlene.
I've seen a number of disgusting things, but the one that sticks out in my mind the most, this is kind of embarrassing. I don't even know how to say this. It's so vulgar. There was some lady at a busy intersection, tons of traffic going by. This was over the summer.
Yeah.
And she must have had, something wrong in her private area because she was scratching herself. And then she smelled her hand. Everybody in our car was sick. We were like dumbfounded. But
now, come on, didn't you laugh about that? It's funny in listening to you tell it. Maybe it wouldn't be funny to see.
At first, we were disgusted. We were just like dumbfounded. We were like, we couldn't believe she did that at a busy intersection. There were like tons of people around. And after that, we made tons of jokes about it.
Well, yeah.
But and then like a week later, my sister had seen the same lady doing the same thing.
You suppose somebody like that just doesn't really know what she's doing? That it's like an unconscious thing?
Maybe that was it, but she looked like she really didn't care either.
Well, that could be too. Marlene, thanks. I'm glad you called. 591-8900 is the number here. John on I-80. You're on WLS.
Hi, Catherine.
Hey, John. How are you?
Catherine, I got to honestly say I've been listening to WLS for 20 years, and you've been the first one to inspire me to call.
Well, I am proud of that.
Originally from Iowa, and what I want to say is you were talking about some gross things. The grossest thing that really bothers me and my new wife, can't understand why it does that so much, is when I'm sitting at a table in a restaurant somewhere, whether it be nice, whether it be sleazy or whatever, and someone blows their nose. To me, is the most grossest thing that ever could be.
So they should excuse themselves before they have to blow.
Absolutely. They have a bathroom. If I sneeze twice, I go to the bathroom knowing I got to blow my nose. Why would anybody want to... the old thing when I was a kid, you used to, eat your burgers. Ah! My gosh, why would anybody want to blow your nose at a table? To me, is beyond. I can't understand that. That's the grossest thing that could be.
Boy, that's interesting. I guess that doesn't bother me so much as long as they're not doing it on the linen napkins. That's what bothers me.
It don't bother my wife either, and I just... Gosh, when I see that, it just turns my meal to slush.
Well, you're a sensitive sort of guy, John.
Yeah, but I want to say, if I can, I've been listening to WLS for over 20 years. I've listened on the road, everybody.
Great.
But you have, I finally got the nerve to call in because of you.
Well, I'm glad you did it, and next time it'll be much easier, John, so I'll look forward to hearing from you again.
Okay, and everybody from Clinton, Iowa says hi to you.
Great. Talk to you soon. It's 9:32 at WLS. Disgusting stuff. You've seen some in your time, and I want to hear about it. It's 591-8900.
Discover Alaska and the Pacific Northwest with YMT Vacations. That's right, an incredible tour to Alaska. Here's the deal. On July 14th, 1997, you'll fly into San Francisco, take in Fisherman's Wharf and the Golden Gate Bridge, then motor coach through Oregon and scenic Washington to Seattle, experiencing sites like Mount St. Helens along the way. Then in Vancouver, you'll board Holland America's Star Luxury Liner and cruise the Inside Passage to charming ports like Ketchikan, Juneau, Skagway, and Glacier Bay. After the cruise, encounter the natural beauty of Montana, Wyoming, and Yellowstone National Park. YMT Vacations has put together this trip especially for WLS listeners for the guaranteed lowest price to Alaska and the Pacific Northwest. From only $2,299 per person plus tax, the package includes airfare, hotel, baggage handling, transfers, and knowledgeable guides. Call 1-800-922-9000 and join WLS listeners on their way to Alaska, July 14th, 1997. That's 1-800-922-9000. 1-800-922-9000. Call today.
I've just had the vacation of my life. I just got back from Israel. You have no idea what it's like until you've been there. I was instantly mesmerized by the spirit of the Holy Land. It was in the way that people greeted me, the way the golden stones of Jerusalem seemed to have a glow all their own. It's an indescribable feeling that just inspires you to do things. Like the day I surprised myself by climbing to the top of Masada. My reward was the most breathtaking sunrise I've ever seen. Then I spoiled myself with a Dead Sea mud treatment. You should have seen me covered head to toe. And I fell in love. With Roman jewelry, that is. Each night, I sampled some of Israel's contemporary cuisine before touring the discos. Those places make you want to just dance all night. I came back from my vacation in Israel telling everyone they simply must go. Not next month, not next year. Now. I've already made reservations to go back. Like I said, until you see it for yourself, you'll just have no idea.
Israel. No one belongs here more than you. Call your travel agent today.
Let's see, I like the gift wrap with the little reindeers. They're cute. Yeah, maybe too cute. Maybe I should go with the one with the snowman instead.
You've got enough decisions this time of year, so Cellular One makes it easy to choose the perfect gift. Cellular service in a box. Everything you need, from a Motorola flip phone to a refillable access card with 60 minutes of calling in a single package. It's called Cellular 123.
No, I'll go for the reindeer. She said Rudolph was her favorite song. Or was it Jingle Bells? There's no rap with bells. Better get the snowman. She's gotta like snowmen.
Cellular 123 is especially convenient because there's no long-term contract, no monthly fee, and no credit check. Just an access card that can be easily refilled with a simple phone call.
Reindeer or snowman? I'll stick with the snowman.
In fact, Cellular 123 makes giving cellular service so easy. The only hard part is deciding how to wrap it.
Gift wrap number 47, please.
With the snowman. Are you sure? Cellular 123, the easiest way to go cellular. Call 1-800-CELL-1 for details. Some restrictions apply.
One's cute.
Did you not have report card trauma? I'm serious. Do you know that now parents pick up the cards and guys like my big brother couldn't even alter it?
One's conservative.
Irene, I wish I had you as a teacher.
Thank you. That's a compliment.
Yeah, I could have conned you so good. I would have gotten through your class at a breeze.
Would have.
Together, they're cool. Don Wade and Roma on the Big 89 WLS.
It's 9:36 on the Catherine Johns program. 591-8900 is the number at WLS. We're talking about disgusting stuff. Here's what started it. I saw this woman on the way home from work the other night hanging out the side of the van, puking. And I guess part of what made it so disgusting was that the van was moving. You know, it's not the same as they pull over. When I was a kid, I used to get car sick. And my dad used to always, on vacation, have to pull over at some point on some country road so I could get out of the car and double over. But there was something about the car's moving, the woman's head is hanging out the window, and it's all over the side of the car. Ooh, yuck, it was disgusting. And it just got us going on disgusting stuff. And apparently a lot of people have seen, a lot of disgusting stuff. Bob in Darien, you're on WLS.
Hi, Catherine. I'm a police officer, and I was working a undercover operation where we thought a laundromat was going to get robbed. So I'm in a back room. A man walks in a suit. He takes a pair of women's panties out of the dryer. He walks over like he's on a payphone. Now, this guy's right on the other side of a wall from me. He starts to, how can I put this? He starts to pleasure himself.
With the panties?
Yes.
That he took out of somebody else's dryer.
Correct.
I mean, in other words, he just came into the laundromat, grabbed somebody's underpants.
Well, he walked around a little bit first, and he made, he was looking in the dryers, and there's a lady sitting there reading her magazine. And I don't know if he's done this before or what, but he was real smooth.
Wow.
And anyhow, he pretends like he's on the payphone, proceeds to pleasure himself. Then he blows his nose into these panties.
Ah, come on.
No, I'm honest. I'm standing there literally a foot away from him, not even, but I'm behind a wall, and there's nothing I can do about it. He then replaces them in the dryer, and about a half hour later, several quarters later, this woman takes out her laundry and proceeds to fold it all.
And you didn't even tell her?
for the integrity of the operation, there was nothing I could do.
Oh, Bob.
I will not. To this day, I keep an eye on all of my...
Yeah, I guess.
I stand guard over my laundry, whether it's in my apartment building or if I have to go to a laundry. I don't even like the places anymore.
I don't blame you. You know, it makes me wonder, like, what motivates a guy to do stuff like that? Those are bizarre quirks that I just don't get.
Catherine, some things, affect people in different ways. I don't know.
I guess. Bob, I'm glad you called. 591-8900 is the number. Jim on a truck phone in Downers Grove. You're on WLS.
Yeah. Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. This happened years ago, about 22. We were drinking pretty heavily. It was this time of year, wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
And we were getting pretty sloshed, so we thought we'd come out to the car and sit down and try to sober up. And we thought we had the windows rolled down. My buddy went to throw up, and his window was up. well, needless to say, this stuff was in the front seat, the back seat, down the defroster, and then it froze.
Oh, no.
And that car never did smell good after that.
Oh, I'm sure. That's just horrible. That is just... But it's funny.
It's funny now. It wasn't funny at the time.
No, I'm sure not. I'm sure not. I bet you were pretty peeved at him.
That's the thing. And then where are you going to put it on the dashboard? Right?
No, on the...
right? Flick it somewhere.
On the dashboard?
On the Corinthian leather. Somewhere, right? In the car. They're going to flick that thing somewhere, right?
You know, it is an interesting thing. It's like people feel invisible when they're in the car.
Right.
They don't understand that we can see what they're doing.
Right. Well, for everyone, stop it. Right now.
All right. I'm glad you told him, Daryl. Thanks. 591-8900 is the number. Chuck in Bolingbrook. You're on WLS.
Hi, Catherine. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Chuck?
Hanging in there.
You seen any disgusting stuff?
Oh, yeah, about 10 years ago. I was coming back from down south on I-57. I guess the car in front of us had some small kids in it, and they decided to change the diaper, and the passenger in the car threw it out the window.
They threw the diaper out the window?
Diaper out the window.
I hate people who throw stuff out windows. That is so tacky, especially a diaper.
Especially when it sticks to the middle of your windshield.
Ew.
It come around and stuck right dead center of my windshield.
Oh.
It wasn't just wet.
Oh, Chuck. Now what do you do with it? I mean, what did you do? Did you pull over? Get it off with the windshield wipers? Then it would smear it off.
The windshield wipers.
Did you?
Then get off in front of the close car wash.
Yeah, I'll bet. Ooh. Oh, Chuck.
That was pretty bad.
That's pretty bad. You're right. Thanks for calling. 591-8900 is the number. This is such an unlikely conversation for me to be having. It seems like Roe and Gary should be doing this instead. You know, disgusting stuff just isn't what girls talk about. Kate on the Northwest Side. You're on WLS. Hi, Kate.
It's similar to that man's story about the diaper. But I was driving down Waukegan Road with this date, and he was really drunk, and this guy cut me off. And at the exact moment that this guy cut me off, my date unrolled the window and threw up out the window at like 45 miles an hour.
Ew.
It completely flew and hit this guy's driver's side windshield. And I was laughing so hard I had to pull over on the side of the road. I thought he was going to die. And the date just completely passed out. I had no idea that he had done that. And it was just the greatest moment ever. Like,
you know, wouldn't you like to be able to do that on purpose to people who cut you off? That is delightful.
Oh, it was perfect. It was just absolutely perfect. The guy cuts me off, the date unrolls the window, vomits out the window, and I couldn't believe it.
Thanks, Kate. I'm glad you called. Chris in Bucktown, you're on WLS.
Hi there. I was in London, England, some years ago, and a small child, he was about 4 or 5, was urinating in a fashionable area with near Harrods department store.
Oh, yeah, I've been to Harrods.
And all these jewelry stores and stuff. And his parents were watching. I was just appalled, and I said to the people who were from London, I said, do you see this type of thing? And they were just as appalled as I was.
Oh, so that's not just a local custom.
Well, I guess not. But I just couldn't figure out why they couldn't whisk him inside or something. It was just very weird and bizarre.
Well, I suppose they figure he's a small child. Who cares? You know, when you gotta go, you gotta go. I don't know. But you're right. It would not appeal to me to have somebody doing that on the sidewalk. Chris, thanks. I'm glad you called. Nancy in Willow Springs, you're on WLS.
Hi, Catherine. How are you?
Great. How are you, Nancy?
Thanks. I have a story from a barbecue a few summers ago. My husband had a couple of beers too many, and we had our 5-year-old in the back seat and our 8-year-old nephew. And on the way home, the kids fell asleep. My husband had to roll the window down, and he threw up out the window.
Oh, no, come on, really?
And it splattered on the kids in the back seat. And they luckily slept through that, but when we got home, they just were covered with vomit. And I had to, hose them down when we got home.
Oh, Nancy!
Yes, poor children. And then the next day, of course, it was all dried on the side of the cars because it was summertime.
Right.
After that, the kids never wanted to go to a barbecue again.
I can't imagine why. Now, has your husband cut back on the beers since then?
Yeah. That was, I think it was kind of a fluke, and it was hot outside, and I think things didn't agree with him. But I'm just real glad the kids were sleeping at the time because there was no way I could stop the car and stop it from happening.
Yeah, and you wouldn't want the kids to actually watch it happen. That would be very traumatic.
But it was everywhere.
I can imagine. Thanks, Nancy. 591-8900 is the number here. Sylvester in Lakeview, you're on WLS.
Oh, good evening, Catherine.
Hi, Sylvester.
Oh, this little story took place in San Francisco just a few years ago. Coming home from work on public transportation on a bus at the top of the hill, look over, and there's this little old lady at the top of the hill, puts down her groceries, lifts up her skirt, and proceeds to have this severe case of diarrhea on the sidewalk. It just starts rolling down the street, and everyone on the bus was screaming, laughing. The bus driver was blowing his horn. It was a story that lasted months.
I'll bet. Good night. I'm picturing the, flowing down the hill. Ooh.
It was just, and of course it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Tons of people on the sidewalks. People were jumping out of the way of this thing coming down the hill.
Now, would it be your assumption that this woman was, unplugged?
She looked like she had been doing this naturally all of her life.
Really?
She just squatted down, lifted up her little sundress, did her business, and then picked up her groceries and then walked away.
Man, oh man. Sylvester, thanks for calling. Liberty in Milwaukee, you're on WLS.
Hi there, Catherine.
Hi, Liberty.
Two things real fast. Number one was carnival at a fair. Someone got physically sick on a roller coaster.
Oh, that would be very bad.
In front of us.
Oh, that would be worse.
And, of course, by the time the roller coaster stopped, they had about 15 or 20 people who were very sick. And because, of course, it went everywhere.
Well, sure.
And number two was back in Hollywood days, went to a premiere party of Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the party was held on the 5th floor of the parking garage at the Holiday Inn in Hollywood.
Okay.
One of the partygoers got very, very sick and went to the edge and threw up. And on the sidewalk below, there were probably 400 people who were stargazing.
Oh, jeez.
And that was so ill. Real fast, can I tell you another one?
Yes.
This was it reminded me of another premiere party, the Russia House. A person who went with me to this party is a young lady who had false teeth.
Really?
And she was a sort of an unsophisticated type person, but I wanted to show her a good time that night. And Sean Connery was at the party, and I asked him if he would ask her to dance, because it would sort of make her millennium. And he said, sure. And a few minutes later, he came over, and he asked her if she'd like to dance, and she could not say anything, but she went out to dance with a man, and right in the middle of the dance, she was going to say something, and she opened her mouth, and her teeth fell out.
Oh, come on! That poor woman.
They hit the floor and broke.
Oh.
And Sean Connery, this very debonair and wonderful guy, reached into his pocket, took out a silk handkerchief, picked them up, folded the handkerchief around them, and put them in her purse, and continued the dance.
Now, that is very cool.
Without a glimmer of a smile or anything. And afterward, I saw him close to the bar, and he totally cracked up. But with her, he was so debonair and so cool about it.
That is really nice.
She still talks about that to this day.
I'll bet she does. Liberty, I'm glad you called. Mary in Aurora, you're on WLS.
Hi, Catherine.
Hi, Mary.
How are you?
Fine.
This is not something I saw. This is something I partook in.
Uh-oh.
We had two dogs at the time. We had a Rottweiler and we had a Poodle.
Yes.
And the Rottweiler had a tendency to get car sick. My husband and I were driving down Route 59 in Naperville, and the Rottweiler proceeded to throw up. Well, the poodle started eating the
No! Oh, no!
Well, my husband turned around and took one look at this and promptly threw up out the side window, which in turn I started throwing up, so the four of us all ended up getting out of the car.
So you're all throwing up?
The four of us are all throwing up.
On Route 59.
In Naperville.
Now, somebody's going to call and say, I saw something really disgusting on Route 59.
This was a few years ago, so I'm hoping nobody will.
A man, a woman, and two dogs puking.
Exactly. It was the most disgusting thing I'd ever encountered.
Yes, I would say so. Now, I don't think anybody can top that. Mary, thanks. I'm glad you called. 591-8900 is the number. We're talking disgusting stuff. All right, Rottweilers, poodles, and weirdos with panties coming out of the dry. It's just been an hour, hasn't it? 591-8900 is the number. You can tell me about the disgusting stuff you saw on the street. WLS, Chicagoland weather. Cloudy tonight, very cold with occasional snow flurries. Low about 5 above, but a little warmer downtown. Tomorrow, cloudy and very cold with occasional light snow accumulating an inch or two, a high of 12. And Friday becoming partly sunny, not quite as cold, with a high in the mid to upper teens. Right now, 8 at O'Hare, 9 at Midway, 7 at DuPage, and 11 at the lakefront. The wind chill is 13 below. And here's a check of WLS traffic at 9:51 with Ted Novak. Are you grossed out, Ted?
Yes. Yes, I am.
But come on, you got to admit, this is very entertaining.
Yes, it is.
People have had some great stories.
Yes, they have. And I'm glad that I don't have any. On our expressways and tollways, we're in fine shape. No problems on the Kennedy, Edens, Eisenhower, Stevenson, or Dan Ryan. Lakeshore Drive, the tollway's also moving well. The good news is the overnight roadwork list is non-existent. No projects scheduled for this evening. And out in the western suburbs.